Well, hey there, welcome back. Sue Helen from the Higher Deeper Collective, and I just love that you've tuned in today. When you look at high-performing leaders from the outside, sometimes it looks like they've got it all together, doesn't it? And they've figured the puzzle out, and they've got some kind of natural blueprint or gift that they can just do it all. But if we're really honest, behind every true breakthrough, whether that's in your business or your organization, your leadership, or just how you carry yourself, there's a very deliberate ecosystem and support structure making the next level inevitable. And you don't have to get there by accident, and you certainly don't get there alone. So today we're going to be chatting with another one of the members from the Higher Deeper Collective. And we're going to share with you today some of the things, steps to fulfill your calling. These things might help you fast track your growth and scale your scalability. So we want you to lean in and grab a warm drink, or if it's in the evening when you're tuning in, grab a cold bevy, settle in, and let's dive into what's possible in your leadership journey when you join with other like-minded leaders to grow. So I want to welcome today Andrew Beavers. Beavs, welcome today to the Higher Deeper Collective. I'm so really glad that you've joined in and are chatting with us today.
Thanks, Sue. It's great to be here.
So Andrew Beavers is, or Beavs, as he's affectionately known by many, all and many across this wide nation of Australia, is the camping and mission specialist at SU Australia. So Beavs, tell us a little bit about what your work and ministry involves at SU.
Yeah, so SU Australia runs over 200 camps and missions each year. We have somewhere in the vicinity of 6,500 volunteers, probably close to 400 volunteer team leaders who are running those events. So my role is to support our field staff making those events happen. So all of the things that you can imagine go into making that happen. My role is to support people in doing that. So from risk management to volunteer training, to writing policies, to consulting on policies, managing and training around incident response and critical incident management. So a really wide range of tasks and responsibilities that come under doing mission with somewhere in the vicinity of 6,500 young people.
Wow, that is a huge impact across Australia. And I can only imagine sometimes the weight that leading in that space must carry. When you look back at the day when you decided to join me, or you reached out to me and said, Sue, can you do some coaching? And you came into the collective, what was the main thing in your leadership that you wanted to change or grow in?
Look, I've previously done mentoring before, so I've seen the benefit, and it's probably been a number of years since I've had a external person from my normal work environment who I could meet with on a regular basis and discuss what's happening and really start thinking through, well, what are my next steps in leadership? So what are things that I can improve that will make me a better employee, but also provide opportunities for me potentially in the future to step into new roles or higher leadership responsibilities. So there was certainly a level of feeling a bit stagnated, a feeling of I can probably do more, but I'm not sure what. And I had some ideas around, I know I need to work on communication skills and various things. But yeah, so there was sort of a step of going, this has worked before, and the collective felt like a different way of doing things. And so that what led me to step in. And obviously I have known Sue for a long time. And so her knowledge of our organization was also appealing, but also she's moved on as well. So it felt like a really good mix.
Yeah, that's great. That's great. So when you can you tell us, has there been a specific moment or a piece of coaching where there was a light bulb went off that you kind of went, aha, this I'm going to implement this. This is going to be transformative for me.
Yeah, I think the biggest bit was you and I were discussing, as someone who doesn't sit on a senior leadership group, but has a position of leadership within an organization, the challenge of when I see an issue raised, how do I bring it to the attention of an executive leadership? And so to be able to talk that process through with someone who has experience in that bubble where there is a lot happening, and I wanted to make sure it was seen and heard. So how do I go about that process and don't feel like I'm just sending an email into the abyss? So what needs to be in that email, what things are prompt around it, and doing that obviously we're a national organization. We don't all go into the same building every day where you might run into someone over a coffee, or, you might have a chat over a water cooler and say, oh, look, I've been meaning to chat to you about this. So what does that look like when the people I'm asking live in 3 different states and we're spread across the country? So how do you bring things to attention and feel like you've been heard? And so I think that process was really valuable, a real insight for me, and something I've used on multiple occasions since we've had that discussion. So I really valued that.
Yeah, that is something that can sometimes be difficult. How do you actually, without that positional authority, how do you actually be seen, heard, get the things that really matter to the mission bumped up onto the exec table is just such an important skill to learn. It's not magic. It's not about schmoozing. It's not about hustle. There's actually some skill. It's actually 3 or 4 easy steps, really, isn't it, Beaves?
It is. And when you think through it, it didn't take much to change it. And while not always the result is not always what I would want, I feel heard. And so there's a level of contentment of going, well, I feel like I've raised it. I don't know the full scope of everything that's happening in the organization. So I can feel confident that I've been heard and considered. So that's probably that heart moment of going, okay, I feel heard, I feel valued. I may still think differently, but that's okay.
Yeah, great. That's good. That's such a change, isn't it? Such a peace. You can actually walk in peace when you kind of go, I've done everything I can to feel heard, yes, which is awesome. Hey, we were talking earlier about a surprising part of the collective, which is our group coaching model, which we have groups of up to around 5 people once a month. That's kind of part of our, we do kind of networking plus coaching. Can you tell me a little bit about how you've experienced that group coaching?
Yeah, well, look, when I signed up and I came with the desire of going, look, I really have valued one-on-one mentoring. And so that's what I came for. I came for a one-on-one coaching sessions across a 12-month period just to really work on that individual. And as part of that, Sue said, well, hey, we've got these group coaching sessions. And I was like, oh, okay, well, that's probably not what I signed up for, but, I will come and try it. And I really enjoyed the opportunity to meet with other like-minded leaders from across Australia and internationally. Yeah. It's been great to connect with people from outside Australia as well. But also, I guess, that feeling of I have something to provide to other leaders. So, as we all gather and talk about things that are happening in our spaces, in organizations, it's really encouraging to get insight from other people, but also feel that, I can add value to someone else and add value to the wider mission. And, just by spending 45 minutes once a month, just being able to hang out. And then there's, I guess, those intentional sessions where, hey, let's look at what a project that's happening over the 3 months, and let's define and put a couple of hours where we're in a group setting, but let's put that time aside to look at a project and how we're mapping it out and how we're planning it. It's just been a really it's far more valuable than I ever thought doing that in a group setting with people from other organizations. And I have really got more out of that than I ever expected to. And I would probably encourage any leader out there to even consider that part of the collective. Is what does it actually mean? Even if the individual coaching you don't feel you need at this point, but just a space to gather with other like-minded leaders and have some honesty and share it and hear what other people are doing and how other people would tackle what's happening. I've just learnt so much and taken away a lot of confidence to I do have some skills that I can offer to other people, which is really encouraging.
Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome. I'm so glad you enjoy the group coaching experience. I also remember in one of our one-on-ones, you said about the strategy mastermind that you were wondering why your term or quarter was going, your 3 months was going so easy, and you'd actually achieved so much more than you thought you would get done. And then you said something about I think it was the strategy mastermind. Can you talk just a little bit about the change that just joining in for that 2 hours once every 3 months for the strategy mastermind has made on how you go about actually achieving your goals?
Look, I think it's actually giving yourself realistic expectations of what the next 3 months is going to look like. So to actually take a project that I was working on, that we had a deadline that of going, we do need to get to this point in 3 months' time, and writing that out and planning what are we going to do in the first 4 weeks, what are we going to do in the next 4-week block, and what's the last 4-week block, and mapping those tasks out and taking the 2 hours with some other people to really do that well, to look at what may come up. So what may cause this to get pushed back. And then what I really discovered is that you get to the end of 3 or 4 weeks and realize, I've actually achieved everything I set out to achieve. Like, because I actually really thought about what did I want to get done, I could actually look back and be encouraged that, I didn't get everything done, but I've got over half of it done. And these are the reasons why these things haven't happened, but they're already got a new due date. So again, look, there are other leaders out there who I'm sure are managing lots of projects that sometimes feel like they are going on for months and months and months. I think break it into what's the next 3 months going to look like, even if that's not the end of the project. You can celebrate wins along the way, and that was really a really important part of the process by doing that, taking those steps.
I love that. Just 2 hours can transform your next 90 days.
Yeah,
I just love it. If someone's listening right now and they're sitting on the fence and they're trying to convince themselves that they can just go it alone and figure these things out alone, what would you say to them?
Look, I would say you are going to get far more by taking a step of going, look, I'm going to do something different for the next 6 months. So even going, let me go and try it for 6 months and just take some time to have someone to hear, another voice to encourage you that you're doing a great job of what you're currently doing, but be someone who's going to look at from the outside and go, well, hey, have you thought about doing it slightly differently? Have you thought about doing this? Have you thought about a different way to approach this challenge? In those one-to-one sessions, but then as a group, just to take an hour of your month out, just to sit and to have other people input into you and input into other people. You can't go wrong. I don't think you're gonna get to the end of 6 months and go, well, it wasn't for me, but I don't regret that decision. So I encourage you to just jump in and give it a go, because the worst that happens is you're going to connect with 5 other leaders from around this great country and this world who you may discover that you've had an impact on their lives just as much as they've had an impact on yours.
Yeah, great. That's awesome. Anything else you want to just say to the listeners out there, Beaves?
Look, I can't encourage you enough that Sue does it she's just so warm and encouraging, and just the way she, like, even as someone who is just going to hear what's happening in your world and pray for you at the end of a coaching session. I think that's even without any of the practical part of what Sue can provide for you, having someone who is just going to sit and listen and give you a space to just share what's happening and just pray for you. I would encourage anyone to just take the step and give it a try.
Oh, thanks, Beaves. They're beautiful words. Thank you. Thank you so much. And yeah, for anyone out there, I would love to hear from you. I just want to say thanks, Beaves. We'll wrap up there, but thank you so much for just sharing your journey, part of your journey, your honesty, the things that are actually going on for you behind the scenes of your growth. And I know it takes a lot of courage to be honest, and I know that your story is going to resonate deeply with others who might be listening today. So just thanks, big thanks from me to you. And if there's anybody out there in listening land that you've caught yourself nodding along, or you had a sudden sense of relief hearing that you're not the only one carrying a heavy load or a big vision to fulfill, please know that isolation you might be feeling right now is real, but it's optional. You don't have to burn out to build something meaningful. So I'm here. I would love to hear from you, and to have a real, genuine conversation with you, and see if the Higher Deeper Collective is a space that you've been looking for to, build capacity to meet other people, other like-minded leaders, and to encourage them and be encouraged. So thanks for listening today. Take a deep breath. My friends, take care of yourselves and remember your calling. It really does deserve a community. So let's go higher in strategy, deeper in person, and purpose, and we'll catch you next time in the collective. See you there.